Yeah, boy.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new build video for Outward. This is something I'm calling the Forgotten Lumberjack, a simple man cutting his way through life. But of course, the Scourge outbreak has left his home without trees. Not a plant in sight in this desolate desert as this troubled individual tries to find his new purpose. It just so happens that that purpose is becoming the most powerful axe wielder in the land of Ri. Here is how you can chop your way through every situation and execute those who stand in your way. The skill trees needed for this build are Wild Hunter, Cabal Hermit, and Warrior Monk. Wild Hunter not only gives us more health to tank hits, but it also offers Predator Leap and Feral Strikes. Predator Leap makes this build 10 times more effective as it jumps you into battle, dealing high impact. Feral Strikes is ridiculous when it comes to damage and can be used to finish any more challenging engagement. Cabal Hermit is purely for the Shamanic Resonance breakthrough. This increases how powerful your boons are, and is super great for some extra elemental defense. But what you might not know is that Discipline and Enrage buffs are also buffed by this passive, meaning Enrage now grants you 35% more impact and Discipline now grants 30% more physical damage. Since we're using a Zar weapon, both buffs will massively improve our ability to end combat in seconds. Warrior Monk will grant us more stamina, which we always need, but then we get Perfect Strike and Flash Onslaught. Perfect Strike is not really all that good because it doesn't work with our damage bonuses, but what it does do is weaken enemies by inflicting pain. Really good in a boss fight and can be used to move quickly across an arena as well. Flash Onslaught is absurd here as it does allow us to use our bonus damage to insta-kill a lot of enemies, and those who don't die are weakened by confusion. All around, we have access to some really good buffs for ourselves and amazing debuffs for our enemies. And with this many attack skills, you don't really need to use regular attacks in most cases, leading to some really high damage that can melt health bars in 1 or 2 hits. For our helmet, we want a Master Kazite Oni mask enchanted with Assassin. This not only looks amazing, but offers us a more physical damage bonus. It's a hard option not to take when looking into physical damage builds, as it helps your stamina and doesn't add any penalties to your speed. The enchant Assassin offers 5% more damage and impact. Not a lot, no, but with that Enrage boon active, everything makes a difference. You'll need to legacy a Kazite Oni mask to get this item, and it's very much worth your time to do so. The chestplate we want is the Zagus chestplate. Now technically, the Pearlscent Mail would be better. It has a bit more damage bonus on it after the horrendous Zagus boot nerf we got, of course. But no, we still want the Zagus armor. You see, it's much more helpful in actual gameplay. It makes you very resistant to physical damage with nice protection. It offers decently high hot weather defense, which you'll need for both the desert and Caldera. And it's got some excellent impact resistance, allowing you to block a lot of hard-hitting attacks in a row. This guy does hurt your stamina and movement speed, but with the tier 1 passive skills from Mercenary, this isn't so bad, and our helmet negates the stamina cost. This set requires completion of the Heroic Kingdom faction quest. Either legacy chest it to have it early on, or do the faction quest, it's really up to you. Then we have the boots. A simple set of scaled leather boots will do the trick. These offer 7% damage bonus to physical damage and don't hinder your character with negative stats. Also, it matches the Zagus armor perfectly, which, come on, that's like half of what matters in Outward builds. Enchant these with Beast of Burden, offering a +3 pouch capacity and +5% physical resistance. The extra pouch is nice to have, and while not necessary, just makes for slightly better inventory management. With this full set of armor, we look terrifying and can greatly increase physical damage while taking very little from enemies. Seriously, this build surprised me with how little damage you take. Watch out for elemental attacks, of course, but regular old melee merely tickles you. The Zar Great Axe will be our weapon of choice for today. This thing is an absolute monster. Unbuffed, it hits with 79 physical damage and 55 impact. When buffed, you get over 200 damage in a single swing, with much higher impact as well. Unfortunately, it is quite slow, but if you remember, active skills don't care about weapon speed. For example, using the skill Execution, which, by the way, grab this from Burak at the beginning of the game, as long as you have a Great Axe equipped. It's completely broken and hypes up your damage to insane amounts. Use this with the fastest Great Axe or the slowest Great Axe. Same speed of attack. which means you don't need to worry about slow attack speed as long as you kill everything before you run out of the skills. Of course, we do have Wind Infuse if you happen to need it. Now, I've played Outward enough to know that situations arise where you're simply underprepared. No enrage buff, or maybe you don't have your cooldown on your skills yet. Whatever the situation may be, you still have Wind Infuse to increase weapon speed when you deem it necessary. Enchant this weapon with Whiplash for 10% extra physical damage. It's not much, but every point more we have is affected that much more by our damage bonus. Also, grab a Lexicon. The backpack we'll grab does not let you carry a lantern, so you need the green then blue runes to light up your path. Honestly, this lantern looks better and brighter than other ones anyway, and the mana usage isn't bad at all. Take 3 points of mana for this build. For those who have watched my other build videos, I'm sure you're still not surprised by this, but it offers 60 mana, and after beating the faction quest, you get 80, which feels perfect with a few mana potions as backup. I'll mention this time around that you should grab the Nightmares passive from the Hexmage skill tree. It doesn't seem to be of use all the time, but since you want to always have your tent buff active, it will keep your mana from being burnt to half after sleeping. The faction quest we will take is Heroic Kingdom. This is perfect for getting Zagus armor and will grant us the alchemical experiment, buffing all of our damage by 15%. Buffing our damage to ridiculous amounts is, of course, the theme of this build. If you head on into the new Sirocco building process, you can also grab Kerouac's Breakthrough if you build the upgrade for the Alchemist shop. It offers 25 more health and an extra 15% physical damage bonus. Oh, and before I forget, you can build the Specialist Trainer at the arena and grab Bronze, granting 25% more physical damage and 25 more stamina, which does feel very balanced number-wise. This decreases your elemental damage by a lot, but it doesn't really matter because we have so much physical. I did not use Bronze or the Kerouac's Breakthrough for the gameplay you see here, meaning that you could get even more damage than what's being shown. The Brigand's Backpack can be given to you for free from the Friendly Immaculate in Caldera. It offers 15% more physical damage and doesn't impede your dodge roll. You need the Runic Lantern, of course, because it can't have a lantern equipped, but this bag looks so slick and is just amazing to have. Loot a Caligray Bone Cage as it offers 10% more physical damage and even 0.25 health regen per second. Now, to find one, you have a 10% chance to get it from any Caligray chest. Head to the Ark of the Exiled, Oily Cavern, or Steam Bath Tunnels in Caldera to find them. Lastly, we do need to talk about the Execution skill, as it is busted and should be used in every combat scenario. Essentially, it's a very, very fast axe swing that multiplies your damage and impact by 1.5 times. However, if the enemy you hit is knocked down, meaning you fully depleted their stability bar, it grants you 3.0 times damage and impact multiplier. So, to get the most out of this, you use Predator Leap, dealing high impact. Then you can brace or use Sweep Kick to knock them down. You can also flash Onslaught, then Sweep Kick to instantly deplete their stability. I don't really care what you do or use, but get the enemy on the ground, and then it's over. Nearly everything dies from one single hit of Execution once this happens. And the window to hit this attack is larger than you think. Enemies will often refill their stability bar, but not actually be quite up yet. As you can tell by the footage, I decided to stream this build and test it then. And what I found of 8 full hours with this build is that, well, you need to make it. The damage allows you to cut down enemies so quickly it does not feel fair. So let's do a quick rundown of how you can actually use this build to embarrass the game. Buff with Enrage and Discipline. You may want to buy or craft potions for this, as the buff needs to be up every time you're in combat. Apply whatever varnish you think will deal the most damage to an enemy. Decay actually gets a really high damage bonus, so decay varnishes are usually pretty good. Approach your enemy and then use Perfect Strike and Flash Onslaught. This applies Pain, then Confusion. Now, unfortunately for this example, pretty much every enemy is dead at this point. I know, sad, right? Flash Onslaught in particular deals way too much damage with this setup. If the enemy is still alive, you're probably fighting a boss or a mini-boss. In this case, use Brace to block an attack, granting you the Discipline boon back that you just lost after using Flash Onslaught. Luckily, Confusion is also applied, so Sweep Kick deletes enemy stability by 100%. So Sweep Kick, then Execution, which will then result in even more stupidly high damage. All this time, you can use Predator Leap to get in close and usually impact an enemy. It's fantastic for dealing high damage, as it too can one-shot some enemies, but using it as a movement skill is even more powerful. If, and that's a pretty big if, your enemy is still alive, you can use feral strikes to finish them off. Because you're also using an elemental varnish that an enemy's weak to, combat gets ended almost before it begins. Do remember you can use Wind Infuse if you feel it's working better. But after my lengthy time with the build, I didn't even activate all the wind pylons because I really wasn't using it that much. The skills drop everything so quickly you never need to melee, and if you do, a varnish usually finishes things off quicker. As you can tell, I had a lot of fun with this Forgotten Lumberjack build. You can feel its anger about the loss of his job in every single attack. I can't stress this enough, but you can one-shot a lot of enemies, and two-shot almost all the rest. It actually became a challenge at one point to see how many opponents I could insta-kill. The only things that didn't go down fast were lightning golems and the Gold Lich Tower. They're actually worse than gargoyles with the very high physical resistance they have. But dark varnish it up and no more problems. I hope you enjoyed this video and feel free to let me know what you think about it down in the comments below. I usually don't go for the slow speed of a great axe, but with this much damage, I really enjoyed abusing Predator Leap and Execution to kill everything. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I will catch you next time. Apply both Pain and Confusion. Now what we do is we use Sweep Kick. I missed. I was trying to use my execution skill, but he's being a pain in the butt right now, actually, and almost killed me. Oh. I was trying to use execution that entire time. He wouldn't let me.